Oh, what the hell? 1 minute. 1 minute ain't nothing. Islam, Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors everywhere. Islam to all the grands. Islam to all the adepts. Islam to all the educators. All the ones that are not afraid to push the boundaries. You know what I mean? Right? The ones that know that this birthright is what it's about. Might play little games or whatever, but when it comes down to the come down, the order of the day is you better have a nationality. Because why not have one? You never had one before. You know what I mean? Yeah, I used to be. No, no, all those stuff doesn't count. You know what I mean? That's it's not your identity. So today, because we never really beat up on the Negro yet. You know, going through some of the classes, a lot of black stuff, but we never really beat up on the Negro. So we want to touch on the Negro because more means black, so Negro means black, right? So we'll touch on the Negro today. But before we do that, we have to read the divine warning by the prophet for the nations. So it's not a national warning, it's a divine warning. It's not a religious warning, it's a divine warning. So if the warning is such, it should be, you know, accepted as a reality because no one can say that they've never experienced something divine. Everybody experienced something divine because everything is divine. So a divine warning by the prophet for the nations, not for the Negro, black, colored people, so called, not for the American citizens, not divine warning for Moors, Moor Science Temple members because they own Noble Drew Ali, for the nations. And this is just the title of the writing, of the article. Just in the title alone, you already know what's up. So things were laid down by this individual, Noble Drew Ali, who is another brother that had knowledge of self and came to tell his people about knowledge of self. We call him Prophet Noble Drew Ali because some of the stuff that he dropped manifested and stuff like that. You know what I mean? In a time when nobody else was doing that. No Asiatic quote unquote black man was proclaiming to be something of such a divine order during that time. So we're gonna get away from all the jumpy stuff. Plain and simple. Noble Drew Ali, poor righteous teacher. It's another brother with knowledge of self. That you know what I mean? Sometimes he'll wear the suit and tie, depending on whatever. Sometimes he might put on some You know what I mean? Moorish wardrobe. But it was just another brother teaching people to acknowledge yourself. And him and Garvey were just at the same time, right? Those are the real founders of the so-called black liberation and all that stuff. Noble Ali and Garvey, not just Garvey only. Noble Ali as well, right? Keyword, nationality. In Marcus Garvey's last letter to the Garveyites. The only way you'll be happy, the Negro, is if you have a nationality. So Garvey was on nationality. I don't care if you call yourself Bay, L, Al, Day, whatever. It's irrelevant. He said the key word, nationality, which made them get him out of here even faster. So people could play around with Noble Drew Ali if they want to. But I'm not the one getting to be terrorized in my dreams and stuff. Have Freddie coming for you guys because you're selling out your people. Cause I already know you started having the nightmares already. You don't even start fronting like you don't know what's going on right now. All these moons and all this stuff, you don't know what's going on right now? You know what they say, the awakening? The awakening. Real awakening. Not even knowledge of self. No, people realizing that they're Moors. That's the awakening. And they wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for Noble Drew Ali. Because he's the only one who came and told them, you're Moors. Everybody else calling you some other BS. He's the only one who came and told you. The only name that ties you to an illustrious history of Asiatic people. Yeah, there's dirt in there too, but we don't care about that. So, when we say Noble Drew Ali, another brother, was for the cause. And there were other people during his time that these people today follow that were for the cause of Noble Drew Ali. People they build buildings after. And they don't want to recognize who taught them, the universal educator, who everybody knows about. That in the Moorish literature, you have Moors talking about they're going to some Arabian store. An Arabian guy has a picture of the Prophet in an Arabian store. Testing the Moor like, yo, you know what this is? Or some Arabians, pale, whatever, who cares? They knew about him. They don't got to do anything else. You know what I mean? Just recognize, just like they recognize Buddha. They got their little thing there with the cup. And anybody does that. A little Ganesha, little thing hanging or whatever. So it's clear that he's influenced different sectors. You know what I mean? We don't go into NOI and all those stuff. We already went into all those stuff. This is the Negro thing. Like he specifically told you that you're not Negro to correct Garvey. That he had to put it on the forefront of the stuff. You're not Negro black colored. From the get-go. Because you already know Garvey was on the black stuff. And he let that go for the Negro stuff. And then he let that go for nationhood. Let that go for nationhood. But you can't claim nationhood without a nationality. And then when he found out, when Drew Ali went to visit him, it was too late then. Because they already got the plaintiff in error, Dred Scott, on him. And it's in the thing. Which proves that, you know, the Negro mindset, activity, whether political, economic, whatever, because remember, it's still black, right? All that is a jurisdiction that someone has control over. Only them. So, as we read the divine warning by the prophet for the nations, remember, for the nations, everybody jumped on board. Haile Selassie jumped on board, said, we're going back to our ancient stuff. That's why I'm getting coordinated with my empress on the same day, because that's how serious it was. Everybody was on this. Even Hitler was on this. And they get mad at him because he was on some nationality. So everybody jumped on board except the individuals who the prophet came for because they needed him the most. They were like, nah, we want NAACP over there. We want Negro stuff again. We want, you know, the student nonviolent whatever. We want black something or whatever. African something or whatever. Nothing tying them to the land that they're claiming they should be given reparations for. You can't be in the land of your oppression and get reparations. So it's catch-22 for them Negroes. But they don't know that all these things are based on codes that's been laid down, that Noble Drew Ali told them, don't go there. You're not Negro. You're not Negro. Which is black. So you're not Negro black colored. You're not black Negro colored. Covering all bases where you can't even etch out and try to say that you're black or Negro. Because colored fills in the gap of black and Negro. Color fills the spaces in to make it a solid object that you can actually perceive and not be like. But if we use Drew Ali, told them, black according to science means death. Right? You go to any black community anywhere in North America, they'll tell you in that black community they got guns and drugs and guys shooting each other over sneakers, guys shooting each other over a girlfriend, guys shooting each other over drugs, guys shooting each other over nothing, schools shutting down and all this type of stuff, right? All you're gonna hear about is death. Well, but black according to science doesn't mean death though. Okay, fine, no problem. You can believe that if you want to. The nations of the world are going to listen to what the prophet says. Because it's clearly evident that society has fell on their ass. And they need to get the hell up. It's clearly. But this is past. Because they weren't on their ass in the 1920s. They said they're Moors back then and stopped playing this black Indian crap. We wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. Because why? Same thing. Why Moors have a prophet, but they're telling people about Abraham Lincoln. What did Abraham Lincoln talk? What are you talking about? Are you using dates to pick people to say, okay, yeah, we'll apply this guy to the teachings because the date says. Look, where Abraham Lincoln mentioned anywhere? You see any pictures of anything? That they're going to abandon the prophet for Abraham Lincoln and then make people go get Abraham Lincoln's papers to be Moors. But not do what Noble Drew Ali said it. All right, yeah. I would go with the prophet before I follow any of these crazy priests out here. Any of them. From any school of thought. Because all of them continue to play the game of call their people black, which means calling them Negro too. And selling them out under the guise of liberation. And people are paying. And you're not getting played? Okay, you keep not getting played. This is for the nations, remember. So you can get that stupid stuff you have about Noble Drew Ali out of your head about religion and Allah and all that stuff. Put all that stuff somewhere. Don't bring those talks. Because all that stuff is irrelevant when it comes to Noble Drew Ali. It's irrelevant. What he wore and how he stand up and did his, was it heels touching and all this type of stuff, that don't mean nothing. Message that the boat brought. Don't care about how they get the boat in the bottle. Don't care. You get the message that was written on the inside of the thing underneath the. You got a message? All right, good. Throw that stuff away and that's it. A divine warning by the prophet. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables, Negro, black, colored, and are subject to all inferior names, Negro, black, colored, abuses, Spanish Inquisition, Treaty of Verona, all these edicts that people say we're not going to call them Moors anymore, we're going to call them black guys. All these stuff that they did so that they can abuse people's rights, make people chattel, so they can violate them. And then the people have no remedy because they're chattel. So you're just stuck. You know, you can't get out the quicksand, but it's not taking you down. You're just stuck. Right? And mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. So even citizens recognize that if somebody is willingly wanting to serve or be a servant, then they have that right. You can be anything, and the only thing that really suits is for you to be Negro. You can be anything. But the only thing that you really hold on to is that you could be black. And then you get abused in these names, inferior names, and you get mistreatments by people who are citizens, of their free national government. In whatever jurisdiction it is that they claim, based on their quote unquote sovereign right to do that as a human being, because there's a UN Declaration of for Rights of Human Beings. So this is not just isolated only to Aboriginal, Indigenous people or something like that. Everybody has the right. Everyone has it. Access to it. Regardless of whatever it is that they want, whatever, you have the right once you have knowledge of. And citizens know that they have to have a nationality, or they would be classed as undesirables and would be subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin. Right? Miss the mark. It's a sin. It is a sin. It is you're supposed to hit the bullseye and you're shooting over there somewhere. It is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to names and principles that delude to slavery. Okay? Now remember that we're talking about just a brother, had knowledge of self and said, this knowledge of self, I'll wake up my people. Do my best to make them know that they're not these slave brands. Right? Letting them know that they're not these brands. Okay? Now, this group of people that violate the national constitutional laws of a free national republic and cling to names and principles that delude to slavery. Right? We want to put reference on cling. Okay? They cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery. They cling to those things. All right? So cling, verb, clung, cling, clinging. To adhere closely, stick to. The wet paper clings to the smooth side of the glass. To hold tight, as by grasping or embracing, cleave. The children clung to each other in the dark. To be or remain close. To remain attached as to an idea, hope, memory, etc. Despite the returns, the candidate clung to the belief that he would be elected. The belief that he would be elected. Clinging to the belief. To cohere. The act of clinging, adherence, attachment. So they have. This is why when Moors realize that their evolution is based on how many people you can crack that code that's going to wake them up. This thing is talking about people are like, when you say that you're clinging, you are hanging on by a fingernail to this thing to make sure that you don't ever let it go. Ever. Like when you think about the times of knowing that you're more and that calling your people black is the worst thing that you could call them, and it hit you that, yeah, I can't do that to my people. Every time you said black, you corrected yourself for yourself, because you know that it was wrong to call people black or whatever. No, if you know that you're more and that they're Moors, right? To break the code, to open these people's minds. Every single individual who knows that they're more has to see this as their mission, to get these people to stop clinging to these names that keep them in servitude. And then because they're clinging to the names, they don't even recognize that they're in servitude. And we're not even talking about the different bodies. We're just talking about in their relation or their contracting or their commerce with other beings on the planet. Most of the beings we deal with are rats, roaches, and, you know what I mean? We're not dealing with no real intellectual, thought-provoking people, because they choose to cling to the name and not recognize that them clinging to the name is what's causing their confusion that they're going through. That they have to think they have to go to the whoever get pills or whatever. Right? There is a personal agenda Moorish Americans should have in ways of coercing our people to divert from these names that they cling to that attach them to nothing. Regardless of what school of thought they belong to, they should be a Moor in that school of thought. They shouldn't be that school of thought. They should be a Moor of whatever school of thought. Because we're all Moors. And clinging to the names is why. And that goes for Moors too. Not understanding, that you don't need to do UCCs and all those type of stuff. Because we're talking about birthrights, which is supreme to contracting. Because the power is in the free national government of the free people bearing a free national name. And then they got a free constitution. So they can govern themselves. And Drew Ali was leading us all right back to that. Governing ourselves, taking care of our own affairs. So your brother man wasn't just, brother man. He was actually, in the political arena or whatever. Because you're not talking it in this, like, when you talk about citizens, free national governments, constitutional laws, free national governments, when you're talking like this, that's not average stand on soapbox talk. Conscious community don't talk like that. This is a totally different jurisdiction that our people were absent-minded of. And he went into that jurisdiction in order to make a claim for all the Moors who, wanted to be Negro, didn't want to be Negro, but didn't know how not to be Negro, that escaped the plantation. They're like, chilling or whatever. Everybody, doesn't matter. Slave master that was, overseer, whoever, whatever. Everybody had an opportunity. Everybody everybody heard the call. Noble Drew Ali wasn't some nobody. He wasn't some nobody. We don't know about him now. But how we hear about Garvey right now, we should be hearing about Noble Drew Ali, and we're not. One, because Moors aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Because they're starting to play this game that this is some owning this individual. You can't own the prophet. Buddhists don't own Buddha. Buddhists talking about, this is our Buddha and all that type of stuff. They honor all the prophets. And Moors took that concept away. Have you idolized the Negroes? The fezzes on. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders. So obviously we weren't abiding by law. If he's sent by the great God Allah to tell the people repent from their sinful ways, go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they would be law abiders, then obviously we weren't law abiders during his time. How weren't we law abiders? Because we want to chase after every damn name and not be who our ancient foremothers and forefathers were. That everybody knows is Moors. The world knows. And everybody in the world, every single nation in the world, except nations that haven't had any type of physical contact with anybody on the planet other than nature, all of them have contracted with this Inquisitionist colonizer. So they can't tell you that you're Moors. Even though they try their best and put out movies and cartoons and all this stuff to show you that you're Moors. That's all that we can be. as a people. And Moors, if you're saying you're Negro or black, obviously you're not a law abider. Because black is not a free national name of anyone. Negro is not a free national name. A river could claim that they're Negro. No, no, what are you going to do? Who has the superior claim? A being or a river named Negro? Because the being would have to have some type of sovereign status to say, we're going to call that river Negro. He has to belong, he has to have some type of superior position. The classification of our people with these labels is going to continue to have us be not law abiders. And as I said in the beginning, when you look in the so-called black community, all you see is not law abiders. Yeah, there's some law abiders in there, but just like the police, good cops or whatever, they're lost in the sauce. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens. Repent from all those names so you can receive your divine right as citizens, which means that we weren't citizens then, which is what the European been telling us. You can't be citizen. What are you talking about? Negro citizen, black citizen? What are you talking about? That's not a free national name. According to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. So free beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. They are to claim their own free national name, Kudradwell, Moorish American, and their religion. And they got their Holy Quran, and then you do whatever. Because citizen, I have a religion, Islamism, and I have a free national name, Moorish American. So I qualify. Anybody else who makes that claim qualifies. No matter if they're study Hebrew, talk Hebrew, or whatever. I don't care. You have a free national name? You got religion? All right. Step 2. Right? Now this more. Peace more. Yo, if you could hold on right now, I'm just doing class right now. So if you have some time, I'm just gonna leave the phone on speaker and you can just listen. All right. So that's brother Kush L from the Virgin Islands. More in the Virgin Islands, right? More in the Virgin Islands. While we're doing class, we're talking about Noble Drew Ali or whatever like that. More calls from the Virgin Islands, who he been left a message maybe like almost a month ago, and we've been playing phone tag for the past 2 weeks. Call him, leave a message. He called, leave a message. Missed calls, all types of stuff. Just to show that Noble Drew Ali is making it known that it's that time right now. Like there's a more, probably Moors in the Virgin Islands that are calling to find out about Moors and Moorish history and stuff like that. And then people around here, they want to play stupid, like they don't got Black's Law Dictionary at their house and Moroccan flags in their house, and play games with people's birthright. Instead of just letting them know that they're Moors, playing a black game and try to bring back Kemet. Kemet fell, and the custodians after Kemet fell were the Moors. What's wrong with you people? You crazy people? You just gonna openly, blatantly just deny the facts of master teachers who you people carried their coffin and stuff like that? Then they tell me you're not Moors? You're everything else but you're not Moors. But you carrying people's casket? Drawley's confirming things through certain channels if you haven't recognized, just so you could really understand what's going on. Why we don't care who gets on this or doesn't get on this, because it's their birthright. You know what views? The 500 views we got, those are the 500 people who were supposed to get this and do whatever they're supposed to do with it in order to help uplift fallen humanity, which clearly is fallen because people are even trying to get them out of here because they want to cling to these names. You talk about suicide, whatever. You know what? Everybody's fed up, and anybody is going to be collateral damage right now because everybody's fed up. Something's got to kick off. You know what I mean? Because remember, all free national beings having their constitution and bearing one free national name. Now when you go to all these places or whatever, and you go and you look in the crowd, you're not seeing no 50 million flags they say they're representing themselves when they're toppling these governments everywhere else and putting people in there who they want in there. It's nationality they're dealing with. Going back to their ancient foremothers and forefathers' divine creed and principles. And the only people who want to play around with this thing is these people in North America and the Caribbean islands, so-called. That Jamaicans are mad that Chinese are racist to them. Right? These are the people who kicked the British ass or whatever. Chinese people are telling them whatever, nigger or whatever, like freaking old dogging up, right? And these guys are just complaining. Well, they have independence and all this crap. Well, you got independence from what? Who gave you independence? What are you talking about? All these Moors getting punked off. And then one Moor gets killed, and then, oh yeah, well, see, well, I'm not going to be a Moor because they killed a Moor. You guys are tripping. You guys are tripping. This man laid it all out for these people. So they can be free. And they want to cling to these stupid names. People get killed for putting out information about the Moors. But these people are playing games. They're not Moors. People get blackface, dress up like Moors. They have food that they call Moors. They have drinks that they call Moors. But nah, they're black, African, Kemetic, Hebrew Israelite guys. No nationality. Stateless. Non-descendable. Can't even pass anything down. Because it's going to get lost. Can't even pass nothing down. Or, instead of pass it down, they give it to the religion. The slave house. To help them continue their colonization against you, who don't want to think. Don't want to use the faculties that the Most High gave you. And talk about stuff's hard. Stuff hard. We got lights, fridges, and shit like that. Ain't nothing hard going on out here. What are you talking about? Some people dealing with. Everybody trying to come over here. And they're coming out there building their little museum or whatever, be their little 501c3, get their little grant money and they build whatever, and then they got a little safe haven. Well, Negro, black, color. They're not even interested in being saved. They don't even care. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. Okay? So you can see why these two great men that had a gift of inspiring their people to have national consciousness, they got them out of circulation ASAP. And what we have left is all that crap. What we have left is all the BS that we're seeing right now, people debating. That's what we have left. No different than when you look at, you go to the store, all you see skinny jeans. You don't see no baggy jeans out here. Out here, you don't have nothing called baggy jeans anymore. You have the import jeans if you want some jeans. Because every store is selling tapered pants out here for men. Not boys. Men stores. Skinny jeans everywhere. Everywhere. Right? Infusion. So what he set up is recognized by this government and then recognized by nations, or not governments of the world, or by nations of the world. What do you mean what he did is recognized? Because it says Moorish, and Moorish encompasses the world. And everybody in the world knows who the Moors are. That's why Noble Drew Ali said Moors. and that you're not Negro, black, and colored, because the world doesn't know you as Negro, black, colored, African slaves. The world knows you as Moors. That's how the world knows you. I don't care what your opinion is about anything. Because I talk to nations of the world. And nations of the world know who the Moors are. And they don't know what a black person is. Because I'm approachable. Right? I'm approachable. So people who don't know English approach me. Just, you know, how come you approach me? Why me? Oh yeah, I know here, and you know where I come from. People like you are the people who you go to if you want to know something. Guys with long hair down to the floor, hair going all the way down there. Yeah, those kind of guys. Whatever culture it is, doesn't matter. Whether it's pale people, whether it's dark skinned people, whatever. The guys who have the whatever it is to do all this type stuff, hair all the way down there, you must know something, right? Because remember, like when okay, like every situation that our people go through is outlined in all these Negro laws or whatever. Okay? And there's, even though it's tainted with connotative language, there's things that verify to these people, Negro, black, colored people, that they're Moors, that there's a separation between Negro, black, colored, whatever, and Moors. As far as people's perception of Moors, the world's perception of Moors isn't like our people. That, oh yeah, Moors are those guys in Moor Science Temple, and that's it. And there's nobody else is called Moors in the world. Only these guys, and they say they're not black, but we know that they're black guys. So, just to put out the one that stands out, um, Negro Law of South Carolina, for example, okay, that one verifies that people's perspective of this, as far as like the ones that say that they're for liberating our people, right? This is Negro Law of South Carolina. It's going to show you the hypocrisy of these people that claim that they're for the liberation of our people. But if they would put the attention that they put to keeping our people dumbed down, by calling them Negro, black, colored, African, and telling them black power is going to help them. Opposed to telling them that they're Moors and how to free themselves first spiritually and then start talking about doing whatever. Right? It's evident that these individuals do not know what they're talking about. Because even in the Negro laws, they let you know that this thing of dark-skinned people, there's a classification for them that makes them supreme beings. And the secret is more. The secret name that they don't want our people to know about. Like, it's for real. Because remember, they had edicts saying that they're not going to call you Moors ever again. That they're going to take this name, they're going to leave all the other names. But this one name, Moor, that ties to these people that we classify as Negro, we're going to remove this name from the language. So people can't call mistakenly somebody who looks like a Negro Moor, because of the implications of, waking somebody up to the fact that they're Moor. And they realize that they're under occupation. So, the Negro Law of South Carolina, Chapter 1, Status of the Negro, His Rights and Disabilities. And Section 3, Indians and the descendants of Indians are regarded as free Indians in amity with this government until the contrary be shown. In the second proviso of Section 1 of the Act of 1740, it is declared that every Negro, Indian, mulatto, mestizo is a slave unless the contrary can be made to appear. Yet in the same, it is immediately thereafter provided, the Indians in amity with this government accepted, in which the burden of proof shall lie on the defendant, that is, on the person becoming the Indian plaintiff to be a slave. The latter clause of the proviso is now regarded as furnishing the rule. The race of slave Indians or of Indians not in amity to this government, the state, is extinct, and hence the previous part of the proviso has no application. Section 4. The term Negro is confined to slave Africans. The term Negro is confined to slave Africans, the ancient Berbers and their descendants. So the slave Africans are the Berbers. The slave Africans are the Berbers. The slave Africans are the Moors who didn't want to be Moors. Because remember, Alim Bey told you, Moor is MR, that goes back to Kemet. So don't talk about we weren't calling ourselves Moors. Don't say that we weren't navigating ships in ancient Kemet. And you know the Moors are the navigators of the seven seas. So then Moors are the navigators before those Moors, who were the Moors navigating the seven seas. But somebody had to teach them how to navigate so good. So the term Negro is confined to African slaves. So anybody who says a slave from Africa, you're confined as being identified as a Negro if you claim that you're a slave from Africa. This is in the Negro law. Because clearly you have no nationality. You're not claiming that you're more. So you're classified as Negro because the assumption is you're dark skinned, you're in America, you came over here on a slave ship. And that's just what it is until you claim something different. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as Lascars. Right? So Negro is confined to slave Africans and does not embrace free inhabitants of Africa, such as Egyptians, Moors, and Negro Asiatics. And since Asiatics aren't slave Africans, we could take Negro off and just leave Asiatics there. And keep in mind, this is 1740, before Noble Drew Ali. They're talking about Asiatics. So it's not something that you know we own. The world knows. And Noble Drew Ali knew exactly what he was doing when he said that we're not Negro black colored. It's 1740. We talk about Asiatics. Negro Asiatics at that. Because you're not going to be confused if they say Negro African. You're not going to be confused with what type of individual are you talking about when you say African. No, if you say Negro African, Negro Asiatic, you know exactly that you're talking about the big nose, big lip people with the nappy hair, the founders. And you go through this whole stuff and they're letting people know. They're letting people know that everything as far as classifying yourself other than Egyptian, Moors, or Asiatics is classifying you as Negro. Anything, any name. And then remember, just like Jew, you can't go claim Egyptian because somebody already stole your birthright. Because yeah, there was Bays and L's in Egypt. Because Egypt was also under the rule of Caliphate. You got no, you get mad. The Moors ruled stuff. Don't get mad that you don't have some Egyptian stuff. Are you like the elder Dick Gregory told them with their raggedy ass pyramids? They're talking about go back to Kemet to see pyramids. You're gonna go see some raggedy pyramids. You didn't have nothing on them, just dust around it. You didn't even dust your pyramid off. There's a lot of dust just collecting on your pyramid. And you go there, you try to go climb that right now. So-called foreign authorities over there gonna come pull you off your stuff, charge you for climbing your pyramid. But you got pyramids all over here that, you know, you're not claiming. You don't care about. But you know that the builders of pyramids, everybody's mind goes back to Giza Plateau and all that. As soon as they say pyramids, they're going right there. Where's that place? Egypt. Okay, so they know what's up because there's pyramids here. So over here is obviously Egypt as well. If there's pyramids over here, logically, there's pyramids over there and it's called Egypt. Then anywhere that there's pyramids, that place must be Egypt. This is their mentality. And it's brute, but it's logical. You know what I mean? You know fossils or nothing to prove that. Just like they knew that the slave Africans are the ancient Berbers. And then that's why they got enslaved, because they wanted to be Berbers. But then, that's just a name for Moors. A synonym. It's not really the name. That's why they can say African and Berber and relate them as synonyms, because they're the same. Just like African and Moor. But Africa is a continent, so you can't be that. And Berber is a language, so you can't be that. So there's more that's left, the identity of who we are. And make sure that you take, people who are coming into this information, you take some real serious looks at the black codes, and you take some serious looks at the Negro laws. Because that's your enslavement happening right there. From taxes to jail time for you to say, why did they do that for? Everything is in the Negro laws and the slave codes to prove to you that Negro and black are slave labels. They are classified as it and are not classified, not compared to, not relative to the human family. So it, black and Negro, being that it's property, anything can happen to it. Just because. Anything can happen to it. There's nothing, don't get mad. It's just what it is. Right? And through it, the connection of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. So by tying yourself to the Moorish Divine and National Movement, you could now, you and your children, could receive the divine right unmolested. Right? Receive the divine right unmolested. Now, people are going to come and say, well, Moors get molested. Yeah, Moors only get molested now because Moors have been passive for the past 80 to 90 years with this information. So just like a leg that you don't use in a cast for 80 years, when you take that cast off, you're not using that leg like how you thought you were going to use legs. Unmolested rights. Divine rights on top of that. Now, again, if the individual willingly doesn't want to proclaim their free national name and religion, they have that right. They have that right. Can't force anybody. But I guarantee that they would learn. Because as soon as they don't claim that birthright, here comes something coming down in their direction that they're not going to be ready for. And it's probably going to knock them off course for a few years if they're lucky. Because they were here with this. They had it. They knew that they're not Negro black color, but then they decided, there's so much confusion with Moors, and this much, too much this with Moors, too much that with Moors. Moors don't have this, Moors don't have that, so I'm not going to be Moor. They have that right. Because their perception of it is a granted privilege, which means that they have Negro mindset. And they knew that they're not Negro black colored. Just like we tell people all the time, nobody can say that they were, black power. Like how we had the black power. Like we had the Marcus Garvey Center, Keys, right? Our generation of conscious, young, quote unquote black men, whatever, blah blah. We had the building, all that. You can go ask everybody. Go ask everybody who brought them out here. Hemet, Booker T, Kaba Hiawatha. You just go ask all who brought them out here. And we were black then. And you come out to more science and you stay black, nobody have excuse. Because what Noble Drew Ali is speaking about is the same thing that Marcus Garvey was speaking about. Just from now, it's a personal perspective. Marcus Garvey spoke from a broad perspective. He laid down the foundation, but all the intricate details was Noble Drew Ali. Why? Because he had to let Marcus Garvey broaden his perspective. That we are a nation of 40 whatever million people. And if 40 million Africans can, that's nationhood. And if that's nationhood, then every individual has to belong to a nation. And again, that's why they linked up. Unfortunately, it was at the cusp of Marcus Garvey's demise. So it went where it went. Right? There is, even when we look at active Moors who people don't even freaking hear about, who are like, their activity is they're living. Whether they work for themselves, they work for somebody, you know what I mean? It's their free national name, their wife's happy, their children happy, you know, they're happy, and they're living, they're living. Ain't nothing spectacular having no bank account with 80 million and, you know what I mean? We could discharge debts to this account. That ain't about being a Moor. This is to make you a better citizen. No, remember, Noble Drew Ali is universal. He's not particular to a jurisdiction. His lessons are going to take you out and beyond where you think that you even want to go. And we're going to keep bringing up the reference because it's about letting there be a solid place in the people's mind to recognize that if you're saying that you're RBG and you rep Marcus Garvey, you can't say that you not repping Noble Drew Ali. You can't. That's hypocrisy. Don't be showing me red, black, green jacket and red, black, green, whatever, flags and all this stuff and then telling me that you're not Moors. What are you going to tell me? You're a Negro? Because that's the only thing that you could be if you're RBG. Because that's Universal Negro Improvement Association. Now, forget all the other stuff that you made up. Well, that's what Garvey founded. I don't know what other stuff you guys made up that you saying that that's RBG. The red, black, green is Universal Negro Improvement Association. So if you repping some RBG, it's either you're repping that, which is a fraud, or you're Moor. And you're repping the nation of Moors because we're not Negroes. Clearly, we're not Negroes. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law. Right? Go to those that know law. So that's one jurisdiction, comma. In City Hall, it's another jurisdiction. So go to ones that know law. Go to ones in City Hall. And among the officials in your government. And the officials in your government. So you who doubt whether Noble Drew Ali is a prophet, go to those that know law. Whoever that is to you, go to them. Ask them about national principles, free national governments, and stuff like that, like Noble Drew Ali is talking about. See what they tell you. After you go to them, then you're going to go to the people in City Hall. Municipal, federal, state, whatever. Those people. Then clarify with them. You know, speak in this tone Noble Drew Ali is talking about. Okay, well, you know, if we classify ourselves as black people, and then black according to science means death, and then all you guys are doing is killing people, are you doing that because we're calling ourselves black people, or because you guys are racist towards us? Oh, we're doing that because and then they can't answer. They'll stop playing like it's a secret. It's not a secret. Dark-skinned people are Moors. They know that we're not Negro, black, or colored. They know that. That's why he's telling you, go to them and ask them. Go in their city hall and ask them, see what they tell you. If you don't want to hear what Moors are saying, you want to hear what Noble Drew Ali's saying, you want to say that you rep, yeah, I rep Marcus Garvey, RBG, and you're going to fly that. And that's a banner. Then you have a flag that you could fly because it's RBG too. Red flag, green star, black outline. RBG. But you're not going to rep that RBG. But you're going to have stripes of RBG on sneakers and hat with a stripe of a RBG and and then a flag on a shirt, and you're going to rep all those different forms of RBG, but the RBG of the Moroccan flag. But then, when you look at one of the most black power people on the planet, and then right behind the couch in that little corner where it like kind of looks, like a corner, but you can't really tell if it's a corner or not because it's all one color. And then when you look really good, you can see, hold on a second, there's actually a flag there. What's that red flag just sitting in that corner right there, trying to be invisible, that nobody pays attention to, because everybody knows. And many people, just once again, shout out to our good brother, Rami Salamel, who asked the question, is certain people COINTELPRO? And then, Master Educator came out, and told all these guys to their face, anybody who called their people black, they're basically a sellout. They're basically an agent working for the democracy agents. And people play games, and anybody that continues to call himself black makes people non-descendable. And then they play games, like they don't know what's up. But there's a Moroccan flag in the goddamn house. There's him admitting on record that he has Black's Law Dictionary and all these different books in his house. So it's not a secret. Whether people choose to tell or not doesn't make it a secret. Like, it's not a secret. Everybody's telling me that you're Moors. Everyone. There are even Moors in places where they're the only Moor. And they're the only Moor because when they go out and tell people about their Moors, those people want to eat them. Then that's happening because ain't no Moors that's been saying that they're Moors for the past 80 years done anything, or there would be Moor science temples in every county, in every city, in every province, in every state in North America. Like there was supposed to be. Because right before the Garveyites split it off and did whatever the hell they're supposed to do, everybody was supposed to join the Moorish Science Temple of America, tie themselves to the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is recognized in this government and recognized by all the nations of the world, so you can have your divine rights as citizens. But nobody want that. Everybody want to be Negroes. And now complaining when they're getting treated like what you claim. You claim that you're Negro. So what do you want? What do you want? So don't forget, you're going amongst the city hall people and asking them. And then you're going to go to your officials in your government. That's not city hall people. Your officials in your government, and ask them. Under an intelligent tone. So right there, already, your mind is on the fact that you can't go in there and act like a Negro. You can't go and engage people like niggers when you're talking about free national standards and you're talking about principles and divine rights and stuff like that, you are never going to engage someone as a nigger. You're never going to engage someone in a name that's not yours. Ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. So, the time frame that you spend going to those that know law, going to those in the city hall, and those among the officials in your government, and asking them in an intelligent tone, and they're going to render you a favorable reply. That's prophecy. For all the Moors who went to any place out here, wherever, doesn't matter, and put their nationality on the record, and that other individual adhered to your request for whatever it was, that's Noble Drew Ali's prophecy manifested. Because they render you a favorable reply. Why? Because they're glad to see that you're not niggers. They're glad to see that you actually know about the fez. No way. No way you know. Oh my gosh, a black guy in a fez. I'm not black, I'm a Moor. Oh my gosh, a Moor in a fez. People trip out. There's stories that you don't hear, right? And I'm telling you because I hear the stories. Because I had calls from all over the place, just showed you that, you know what I mean? Virgin Islands is calling, right? Money doesn't make the man. Money doesn't make the man, right? I'm not talking about the queens, but what? Money doesn't make the man. For all the gold diggers out there, money doesn't make the man. So this, male gold diggers, female gold diggers, whatever. Money doesn't. Playing yourself with that one. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. Free national standards and power makes a man and a nation. Free national standards and power makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold, silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. Without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. So anybody can have wealth, but is it true? And if you can't have true wealth, do you even want wealth? And remember, the gold, silver, and commerce. Gold, silver, and commerce. Commerce, all this stuff that these guys saying that they're selling. Okay, so how they get jurisdiction to sell stuff under the guise of commerce when that's your stuff? How they got jurisdiction over your stuff to sell you your stuff? How they selling you your stuff? And you let them sell you your stuff. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people. Help me. Help me. Not help me to save my members of the Moorish Science Temple. Not help me to save my grand sheiks. Not help me to save my grand governors. Help me to save my people. Save them from what? Who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. So he recognized back then that his people have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. Back then he realized this. So he went to the nations of the world and presented to them a divine warning based on the fact that half of them had something to do with us falling from the constitutional fold of government, and they're really in conspiracy because, you know, go check their stuff, they got US Treasury stuff. And now they're trying to get rid of it and bring back gold standards all over the place because nobody wants to get caught with the counterfeit. When, you know, stuff switches. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again. So that means we were there at one time. Yes, we were there as our ancient foremothers and forefathers. This is why he said, return to their mindset. Because when you return to their mindset, you start eliminating these things that are not part of your reality. Because in the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we would perceive things that they perceive, not things that we are perceiving right now. Which is going to allow us to, you know, tap into the seventh chakra and all the stuff that we want to talk about. Nationality. He's depending on their support. Right? And there's Moors who can vouch for that statement. That there's people who back them on certain levels. You know what I mean? People of other nations that recognize that they're Moors. And they take them down to the basement in their little thing and show them all the stuff that they got that's related to Moors. That as a black guy, you've been going to that store for 15 years or whatever like that. They never, you even know that they had a basement in this spot. Right? He's dependent on their support. I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. Supporting our free national constitution. Not free national constitution for the United States. Not free national constitution for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Not free national constitution for Moorish American government, a Maxim Empire, Atsikata Nation, the United States of America, which is the American Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Our. Because that comes from our laws. Whether you want to say Aboriginal and Indigenous or you want to say Muslim laws. Either way, it comes from Moors. Either angle you want to go on. Right? Whatever angle you want to go on. Because they'll tell you Muslim customary laws. But they also tell you great law of the great peace. What, like, how are they taking two things from two different, or was it all over here? Because you know great law of the great peace has nothing to do with other side of the Atlantic. That has to do with here. Muslim customary law, you can kind of, say it's over there, but is it really only over there? Another key, learn to love instead of hate. I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they would learn to love instead of hate. Means that we weren't loving. We weren't. So he came to teach us to do that. Learn to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate. So we're supposed to eradicate hate, like, entirely? Learn to do one thing instead of the other. Instead of. So since 1913, this stuff could have done. If the nations, because remember, this is divine warning for the nations. So this is not just a message to these foreign sympathizers. Right? It's a message to the nations. Because, if the nations learn to love instead of hate, he could depend on their support to help him bring his people back into the constitutional fold. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States, it is more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. Here now is where the naturalizer slicksters tie Noble Drew Ali to their fraud by saying that, look, he's saying that Italians, Greeks, Chinese, Japanese, Turks have to proclaim their free national name, which to do that would be naturalization. All these people do the process called naturalization when they're going to be a citizen of the United States of America. So why shouldn't the Negro black color guy do it if everybody else is? Yeah. Only difference is that all those guys are foreigners, so they have to naturalize. We are not foreigners. We're Aboriginal indigenous people. We were here before colonization. We were here before encroachment and cheating. So regardless of what they do, we were always still here before them. Regardless of what they do. Regardless of what they have, how they got it, we're still here. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Now, people are going to push their, if you're not born there, you can't be a citizen. If you're Aboriginal to the land, and there's a government there, and you're born there, and you're Aboriginal to the land, then you're tied to that government. So you're a citizen of that. If that's a legitimate government and that is your land and you're born there, yeah, you can be born a citizen. If you're a foreigner, you can't be born a citizen. But if you're from the land, of course you can be born a citizen. That's why he's using the reference. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there, in all other governments, in all other forms of indigenous governments around the world, if a man is born and raised there and asked for his national name, what's your nationality? And if he fails to give it, well, I don't know, I'm black, I'm Negro, I'm colored, I'm African, I'm Kemetan, I'm Hebrew Israelite, I'm Garvier, I'm Rastafarian, I'm conscious. He is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. And then that's how they deal with stateless people. And then that's it. Ain't nobody gonna check on you, see how you're doing or nothing like that. You're stateless. You're in a corner right there and you do your stateless stuff right there. Don't pass the fence because you're gonna get shot. And that's it. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must proclaim your national descent name. To be a citizen of any government, so you're an African citizen, all right. What's your national descent name? African citizen. Or you're a black citizen. What's your national descent name? I hear crickets. No nationality, no rights, no national descent name. because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. They place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. Divine warning by the prophet for the nations. Just go read that. It's online somewhere. You'll find it. We was got some couple questions. One question. I was watching the class on right to travel and wanted to know where I could purchase those car plates. As far as car plates, it's just a place out there that makes plates. And there's many. Would I suggest doing that? Taking up plates and just put plates on and then say, yeah, I got my own plates? No. It's definitely not what you want to do. Right? You don't got time to go into that. But if you want to call into the show, for the person who emailed that question, 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899, 9:30 p.m. Blog Talk Radio. Call in with your question if you are on this stream and you had the right to travel plates question. Let the mothers give you some cut ass. You'll be taking off those plates and stuff, especially if your stuff is good right now. Study first before you start taking off plates and stuff like that, because these people not play. They'll take your stuff and anything in it just because, right? But there's plates people out there. Plates people, that ain't nothing. There's plates people out there. The other, testimonial / question. I was having a conversation with one of our Kemetan brothers regarding our Moorish connection to Kemet, based on the transference of ancient knowledge that was delivered to us during the decline of Kemet. He says that he knows of Moorish history and cannot agree that we took the ancient knowledge, mysteries from Kemet, seeing that all the books and pictures of ancient Moors always depict Moors carrying a Quran and not the so-called Book of the Dead or any other Kemet holy books. Furthermore, he stated that the Quran paints a negative picture of Kemet, just like the Bible does. Can you shed some light on the subject for our brothers and sisters that may encounter Kemet brothers like this? Well, it's just like these jokers that call themselves Nuwapians, right? They can't argue with hard facts. So when we go to them and we say, okay, Mr. Nuwapian, if you're not a Moor, how come this individual right here, if you're not a Moor, how come this individual who's your master teacher, right, has his own book that he put out for the Nuwapians called Holy Quran Circle 7, right? And in it told them that they're Nubians and that they need to learn more about the Moorish Americans because that's their nationality and they have a prophet, Noble Drew Ali and all that stuff. And he talked about all the Moors that he got the information from to bring it to the Nuwapians, right? So just like them, the Kemet people, you're just going to go get their little stolen legacy, George G.M. James, who's their scholar, Egyptologist and all that stuff, Asa G. Hilliard and all the crew, that crew of chematologists, whatever. And let George G.M. James, who everybody knows got assassinated for his book, because he revealed the secret that nobody ever talked about, that the custodians of the ancient Kemetic culture that preserved African culture so that the world could benefit from it was the Moors. Like, that's who it was. And they say that they rep him. Oh, you just take that part, but you didn't take the part of nothing else ain't important. When Kemet fell, the Moors were the custodians of Kemetic culture. Like, that's it. There's nothing. There's nothing. How is over here called Morocco? Over here is called Maghrib al-Aqsa. Maghrib al-Aqsa. Morocco, the farthest west. Well, Morocco's north. So Morocco west has to be west of Morocco north. It can't be the western part of the North Morocco. That's west. That's west. That doesn't make any sense. The farthest west on top of that, and the western part of Morocco is not the farthest west of Morocco, and that's what it is. So. And you know, I just don't deal with Kemetic whatever people. As soon as they're coming to me on that, they're Kemetic and then we're Moors. No, you're Moors that are Kemetic. If they're not coming like that, if they're coming on they're Kemetic only, but they can't show me a Kemetic nationality card. They can't show me a Kemetic flag. They can't show me anything as far as quote unquote being Kemetic is concerned that ties them to a constitutional government, a constitution, or anything to do with civics or whatever. So their claim is void. Nothing personal. Don't get mad at me. You're the one claiming Kemet when you could claim more. Why don't you just claim more? Stop playing games. Right? We had brother Jupiter, right? Jupiter, brother, still around. He was studying the Ra'una from Amen and Tree of Life books and whatever, and he was going in on that stuff. That was his, how people have Bible religion or whatever. And all they could tell you about is Bible stuff, whatever. Like, okay, that's how he was on the Ra'una from Amen stuff. He was on it hard like that, like hard like a Christian, like a Muslim, hard on the chematology. And then he found more science, applied more science to that. Said, "Hey, yo, this is the same stuff." Like we're going through all this stuff, all this Kemetic stuff, which ultimately comes down to esoteric sciences, right? Gnosticism. Now this guy is talking about Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. What's Book of the Dead? That ain't nothing. Compared to ancient manuscripts or whatever, you're telling me that they got all these libraries or whatever in Kemet, and you're telling me Book of the Dead is the highest stuff that they got? Please stop with that BS right there. No way. So forget all that Kemet stuff, because regardless of what it was, what the book was called or whatever, the Moors were the custodians of it when Kemet fell. Don't tell me nothing about Kemet. If you can't show me a Kemetic nationality card, I don't want to hear nothing about Kemet. Your claim is void because I know you have a U.S whatever identification in your pocket, and you're either an agent for them or you're their property. Which either or you're their property. And then that's what it is. There's not any other way. Well, see, the Pharaoh don't talk about, because the Pharaohs told the Moabites that they could come over here and all that stuff. So like, what are you talking about? It's different stuff. You talk about Kemet. What do you think that was? You think that wasn't successorship? The Pharaoh told them go somewhere. Yeah, oh yeah, you guys just go claim over there. You know what I mean? Don't worry. You know, right? So that those are angles where I deal with people, and this is where it's going now. Cause I'm not even tolerating their foolishness. You got a nationality card to prove it? Here's my stuff. Bam. I got a Moorish nationality card. Prove that I'm more. You're a conscious black guy. Black power. Let me see your black power nationality card that you use. If you got to go to stores out here, you use that as ID. Show me something. You Hebrew Israelite? Let me see your stuff. Let me see your papers. Something. Let me see some transcript. Something. So show me something to prove. Show me an envelope with that on it from a reputable. We'll do like how they do to us or whatever. We don't recognize that as the government. Oh, but we don't recognize your stuff unless you show me some corporate democracy pseudo government office that mailed you something in that name that you got on your ID that you claim you're Hebrew Israelite or you're Garveyite or whatever. Bet you can give me some mail with that name on it. Bet you. Frauds. All these people are Moors and they're playing games that they're not Moors. They're everything but Moors. And when Moors talk, then all of a sudden everybody want to get mad. Everybody want to start threatening people and come Canaanland, kick people's ass. Get the hell out of here. You're Moors. You're not budging me from saying I'm Moor. I don't care what you come with. We're Moors. There's too much facts out here about Moors for me to not be Moor. Too much facts. So deal with these people on these levels so they can see their hypocrisy, because they have to be the ones to see their hypocrisy. That's why the master educator told them, anybody who continues to call these people black and make them non-descendable, them people are sellouts. Told them to their face that they're sellouts. They talk about Umayyad dynasty and crap like that. You bringing up stupid stuff. Let's get with the facts. Show me something. Prove something. No, can't prove anything. Because they're stateless. They have no nationality. Even though their last name goes back to crests with Moors heads on them. But they're not Moors though. They're not Moors. Islam told the Moors, don't forget, 9:30, half hour, get your little tea or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Half hour, Blog Talk Radio. Also make sure you check out MoorisDirectory.com. I mean, get your updates on, stuff going on. I mean, 347-945-5899. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-eyes wide open 9:30. Peace and love to all the Moors, all the active Moors, hold strong. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to bring up with regard to Moors and true Moors really doing what they're supposed to do. Let that higher power guide so we can get some things done around here. When I say Islam to the Moors near Milwaukee, who got their temple going on right now, and then that's something that we manifested, just so everybody knows. It's not just, you know what I mean? Oh, there's town in Milwaukee. No, Moors put in some white, black, purple, yellow, green, red magic to manifest some stuff. You know what I mean? Right? That we even sealed it, had the four corners covered and everything, just to make sure the ritual goes down and manifested something. So stay strong, Moors. Don't be deterred by these jokers and anything else. Don't be swayed by these clowns out here that don't want their birthright. Recognize that you have your birthright. And the fact that you have your birthright, then you better do something with that. Because that's yours. Nobody owns it but you. It's yours. It's your birthright. Just make sure that you stick to the principles, you know what I mean? Don't be coming over, chicken blood. Yeah, well, Cujo said we could do. Stick to the principles and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Make sure you know what I mean? Study the prophet and all that, right? But don't be swayed. Don't be swayed, because we've been there, right? We've been there. Things going on right now. Stick to your birthrights, because that's all that you really have, really. Right? So Islam to all the Moors. Peace, love, and hotep. Let's just do our closeout. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Peace, Moors.